Hang on, the Kreska is a machete? That looks so much like a scythe. I didn't expect that. I was going to start this a whole different way, but the only way I can really see this is... Wow, it is actually classed as a machete. I didn't see that coming because it doesn't look like one. It looks like a scythe. What? Why would this be called a machete? I mean, okay, I have mentioned a few times that that looks pretty nice, but it doesn't make any sense because there isn't any good machetes. I'm kind of glad to see a machete turn up, especially one that does 40 elemental damage, because I'll turn her around that way so you can actually see it a little bit better, because the claws are in the way. I'm intrigued now. Also, was that a V polarity this thing had? It was. Now, all in all, yes, I am aware this is one of 8 machetes. You have the Gazelle Machete, which, honestly, I like that thing a lot. It does similar kind of damage this thing does, but it's more physical based. The Kama is also classed as a machete, which I never noticed, but it has pretty decent attack speed. Again, honestly it does less damage, but it's more physical based. Same goes for things like the Nami Solo, all physical based. The Machete Wraith, the Prova Vandals aren't even worth mentioning if we're brutally honest about this, but the crit chance of 14% on this wasn't that bad. You kind of expect it to be pretty bad, but you gotta remember this is more of an elemental based weapon, and most of these are not elemental based. I mean, the Kama has a 2% status chance with a 5% crit chance, but does do 31.5 slash. This only does 15 slash, which is where, if I had to pick one out of all of them, I loved the dual Kamas. They were a lot of fun. The Nami Solo is probably the closest thing to this in the way that it functions, mainly because that's the only machete with a decent status, because it has 25% status. Even the Prova Vandal only has 20% status, but the Gazelle Machete probably the closest to this because it has 25% status. It has 10% crit chance, this has 14, but that has the 39 slash, the 7.8 puncture, the 5.2 impact, whereas the Kreska here has 10 impact, 5 puncture, which is 2.8 less, and 15 slash, which is, what, 24 less? But this also happens to have 40 heat to it, and it's the 40 heat that throws this instantly on the top of the pile of machetes as the all-out machete overlord. There is no machete that's kind of better than this at what this does, because it has the elemental side to it. The rest of them, none of them, apart from obviously the Prova Vandal, which, if we're going to be brutally honest, has more elemental damage than the Kreska here does, because it has 48 electrical damage. This only has 40 heat, but this also has the physical side of it, which the Prova doesn't, because the Prova is basically a cattle prod. It should have just been called the Prodder. Even the normal Prova isn't that much. It isn't better, it's worse. The only real downside I found to using this is the only one that was slower than this out of all of the machetes, which is another reason the Gazelle Machete probably was the former best machete out there, is the attack speed. The Gazelle Machete had a 1.08, the Kama has a 1.17, the slowest and the only real slow one is the Machete, which now shares the attack speed with the Kreska, because even though this has 14% crit chance, 2 times multiplier, 22% status, the 40 heat damage with the 15/10 impact, 5 puncture. It's sadly, all of this is kind of meaningless when you realize it has a 0.917 attack speed. So it's not amazingly slow, but it does seem to be its major downside, because the machetes, they're usually about 1. The normal machete was really bad because of its attack speed and its low damage. This actually has decent damage, and the attack speed, just throw Fury in there and honestly it becomes so much better. But you definitely want to build this thing more towards the status side, because it is a status, was about to say it's a status beast, but it's not really. It is definitely more of a status based machete than the rest of them, and it was about time that we got a decent machete anyway. The Kreska, even though it doesn't, I thought it was going to be something completely different than what it turned out to be. I thought it was a scythe and a full-size one. It's not. It's a machete. That really did throw me. I mean, that's why I decided to start the video there and then while looking at it, because I didn't realise that it was classed as a machete. Being more on the status side makes it good for condition overload, not overlord, and what was that other one? Drifting contact, because drifting contact increases the combo duration and the status chance, all at pretty much the same time. So this thing actually, I wouldn't say it's for higher level stuff. It's definitely for more day-to-day running around doing low level bounty type stuff, but it was definitely a lot of fun to use. But considering you can only really get it, well, it's kind of can't go without being unsaid that the build cost for these, or sorry, the research cost for these are insane. Okay, I understand it's a mastery rank 6, but needing all of these alloys and relays is nuts. And the reason I'm covering this before either of these two simply comes down to one major factor. You can't get to these in the research queue until you have researched this first, and then there's a 3-day wait. And then, yeah, while you are busy farming the alloy for this, you may as well keep an eye out for the other alloys, because these things are going to cost a fortune in research, because that's just nuts. Anyway, we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch yous next time. I don't have any of this to put in there.